In this episode, I'm talking to Sam and Luke, the founders of HW Media, who have been on a tear in the marketing space. Since I've met them, they've scaled their agency from 3K to 80K plus per month. And that's great British pounds, not stretching it out to the dollars. They've recently just launched into the US, operating multiple time zones, and also sharing in this episode all of the challenges that come with that, from team building to generating high ticket sales to serving their clients at the maximum possible depth to ensure they're getting the best possible results. These guys are straight talkers. If you're a marketer or agency owner looking for inspiration from two straight talking entrepreneurs that are leading their niche in the space, tune in and listen in, because you're guaranteed to learn a lot from this episode. Let's get into it. Right, we got the founders of HW Media, also one of the biggest and best case studies of the Start and Scale partnership. You guys have been on a journey from literally being there with you for some part of it, and then obviously you guys doing your thing, and then more so coming back into touch. But we've never really lost touch, which is one of the things that I love about our relationship. And it kind of represents what the program's about: real relationships, lifelong friendships, and not just business. For anybody who doesn't know what you guys do at HW, how would you describe it in terms of what it is today?
Yeah, 100%, man. Thank you for the intro. Just want to start off by saying it feels weird being on this side, being interviewed for once. It's different to the Multipliers Club. So how would I describe HW Media today? So we are, in theory, we're an international marketing brand. We work within the aesthetics and med spa space. We have a complete growth partner service. So instead of just generating leads, etc., we coach med spas to help them generate more revenue. We appoint sales staff to call the leads and book them in. So it's a complete kind of 360 scope. And we've got clients in the UK, USA, and a couple in Dubai. One in India, which is random as fuck as well.
Yo, don't sleep on India.
Yeah, Mumbai,
the economy there is popping off with growth, and like the beauty space there is massive. And I know that because I've been there for one. My family's from there for one. And also my stepdad's family have salons and that, and they're like killing it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this particular...
And you wouldn't expect it, right? You wouldn't expect it.
You wouldn't. I mean, this particular woman, she's called Kashama. Shout out Kashama. She actually watches our pods, so if you're watching it, shout out you, Kashama. She does the equivalent of £400,000 sterling a month, which is more than most dental brands in the UK.
Dental?
Right? Yeah, dental.
Oh, right. She's a dental...
It's like a Bollywood dental celebrity dentist. She's the dentist of choice.
It still comes under the aesthetics banner in a way.
Within reason, yeah. I mean, 95% of our clients are aesthetics, med spa. We've got a couple of training academies we do well for. Yeah. We've got a couple of dental brands as well.
It's good for the brand. Shows that the power of having a good, strong brand on Instagram, though, because she just randomly came across us, followed us for a bit, even watched our podcast, and then was like, can you train me?
Yeah. Let's unpack that, because you guys have been on a content tear. How impactful has that been with all the content you put out, not just the podcast, in terms of generating revenue and growing the business and the brand?
Yeah, it's a great question, man. I mean, in terms of organic, it was kind of hard to track at the beginning because we were pumping so much stuff out and there's no real trackable metrics to start with. But what the real, I'd say, game changer for us was when we started running paid ads. When did we start running paid ads? 3 years ago? About 3 years ago. We went from doing around 25K a month to doubling rev probably within a 12-month window. So I think organic with the paid ads together combined, which is something you teach, that's the recipe for success in this industry.
How hard is it to get the volume of content that you guys get out? Because it isn't easy work. And I was just asking you earlier, like, who's your editor? How are you getting such a high volume out? How hard is it to make sure that you're getting the amount of content that you guys get out in front of people?
It's like a full-time job in itself.
Yeah, it's extremely hard. I mean, we don't really put out as much as we should with HW Media, as much as we should with our other personal brands. The podcast has helped leverage content for other channels. But with HW Media, I wanted to do something a little bit different with the content strategy. Instead of just coming onto a brand and continuously selling, I thought, if I can bring the best minds within the aesthetics industry into a room and interview them, kind of similar to how we're doing right now, ask them about the aesthetics industry, it's kind of like a case study because they're already my clients and they're dropping soundbite after soundbite and everyone knows who they are in the industry. So how we really built the HW brand was actually podcasting with our clients, putting it on YouTube, and short forming it, putting it on the Instagram. And whenever we get inquiries, people who actually like go through the IG, which is maybe half of them, they're always like, do you know what? I really like your content strategy. You're not too salesy. Well, they haven't heard my sales pitch yet.
Well, wait till the end of this call and we're going to get into it.
They don't know what's coming.
Have you seen the sky today? That's something that I've noticed. Like, you guys execute, and whenever you get a strategy or even a program or something to invest in, you guys never hesitate. And we'll unpack that kind of situation that I know about as well. But let's get to the kind of the headline for you guys, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to invite you down first for the first initial podcast that we're doing. You've gone from, in 3 to 4 years from when we first met, 3K a month, 2K a month,
2K,
to now operating an international client base. You've got team members all over the world as well that are performing and working for the brand, and you're doing upwards of 80K per month. Is that accurate?
Sterling, between 80 to 85K.
Okay.
Yeah.
How have you done it?
Boy, a lot of trial and error. So there's no shortcut to this shit. We're 5 years deep. When did we start? 2019, June, officially.
Yeah, roughly.
But then COVID came, we had to kind of relaunch 2020, 2021. Yeah. How have we done it? A lot of hiring, a lot of firing, a lot of lessons, always trying to focus on the client result as well as sales. This is why me and Luke are the best combination as business partners, because he's an operational genius, right? He loves tech, he gets things popping, he's great at systems. I love to sell. It's all I've ever done. Is sell, build relationships. So I think it's because I've always primarily been able to focus on revenue generation. Luke's always primarily focused on operations, whereas most solo entrepreneurs in this space, they have to do all of that. Yeah. So I think that stunts the growth.
Yeah.
That kind of makes sense.
It's
probably what I'd
definitely
say.
an advantage to have two of you in the business that are both maybe sales and delivery. Someone else we've had on the podcast, Sam Darby, same thing. He was the sales arm, and then his business partner, who's still running that brand now, was the delivery and the operations arm. What was the circumstances when we first met? You guys don't seem to have changed much from when we first met and we worked together on the partnership. Where were you at? What were kind of the problems that it solved for you initially when you came down and we started that kind of mentorship, partnership relationship?
Yeah, so at the moment in time, we'd never had a mentor. We bought maybe a course, but it was in America, and it was really overwhelming. I remember we paid like 3K or something for it, but it was really overwhelming because going on this course, there was hundreds of videos. Bearing in mind at that point, we don't even know anything. Like you don't know anything, and suddenly you're getting all this in your face. You don't know what to do. There's a strategy for Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and you're like, I don't know what to start. So it was so overwhelming that we didn't even really get into it. So then I think obviously got hit with one of your adverts. At the moment in time, we were actually helping people get followers. Like at the time, we just knew this little hack where you could get people 1,000 followers in a month. Right. So we were just saying, we'll get you 1,000 followers this month. That was the offer. And we'll look after your...
No way?
Yeah.
I can't remember a thing about it now.
We kind of do anything that they said. So then someone would want some emails, someone would want posting on, like it'd be a roofing company, I want posting on Facebook, Instagram. And we used to post in the local Facebook groups for them. Yeah. Like where we are, there's loads of all these local Facebook groups. So we're posting them saying, we got roofs. And they'd get some jobs from it. And then we'd delved into like Google adverts a little bit, and then so we weren't running paid ads for people really when we came to you. And after that, that's when we kind of started doing it.
So really it was like the shift in the offer and moving to that high value.
And we were charging we had like a lot of clients when we came to you. I think we had like 10 or 15 all paying like £250 a month.
Quids,
What's the average order value now?
I'd say probably about 2,000.
Okay.
About 2K.
So we've like 20x'd average order value in 4 years.
We have some clients on slightly more. We've got a couple on slightly less.
What's it like managing? When you break that down, looking like 40 accounts, 80K. What's that like managing that process? What's the challenge that you face daily in making sure that they're getting the best possible service? Well,
right now it's never been harder than it ever has as it is right now, purely because we launched this US division. We've hired staff in the USA, an operations director called Amber. Shout out Amber, she's a fucking G. Jan and a client success coach, and we've probably got about 25 to 30 clients in the States. That's a whole nother animal compared to the UK. So we've got US teams we're managing in US time zones. We've got UK teams we're managing in UK time zones, and a couple of clients in Dubai and one client in India. But we won't really kind of count that because it's just the one client, right? So in terms of managing,
it's another territory, bro. It's another one. We operate in 3 continents. New headline on the landing page.
100%. So like managerially and operationally, it's really hard, man.
Yeah, because look,
really,
you guys
really
are
hard,
offering, one of the things that you guys have nailed in terms of what you're selling, right, is multi-service. So that's one of the things we obviously preach in the program. Don't just sell one service. If you're doing their ads, you could probably do their content. If you're doing their content and their ads, you can probably do their funnel, their website. If they're doing that, you could probably do their email and their follow-up, right? One client becomes a higher value. You guys are obviously fixing on the lead generation and the appointment setting side of it. Now, appointment setting is a beast within its own right. Some people have just pure out and out appointment setting agencies. I'm sure you get DMs in the requests every day.
Definitely,
I do, And we offer that as a service to our pay-per-lead clients, right? So I know, but it's nowhere near the volume and the scale in terms of how many clients we're doing that for, because we also just sell the leads. That's like a bonus offer. You guys have got an international team that you're working with, that you've assembled in South Africa. How does that work? And you're talking about multiple time zones that you're operating in. I'm feeling overwhelmed a little bit for you.
Of course, yeah. I mean, to shed some light on this, in 2025, appointment setting isn't enough, right? We learned this the hard way. So you can have an appointment setter who can speak to a lead for a med spa and give them information, but you need a closer who can collect a card on file, take a deposit, sometimes up to $160, £160. So we don't train them to be appointment setters. They have to close. So they have a strict training program. I train once a week. My operations director, Amber, who's built multi-million-dollar med spa companies previously, she trains twice a week. Role play, objection handling, script training. This is the stuff we have to go through to continuously level up the team. And a lot of the time, if we can't coach the appointment setters to deliver, we have to coach them out, right? Because at the end of the day, they're representing the client, and we're so heavily reliant on the appointment setting team or closing team to generate our client results. Being a good marketer is not enough. It's just not enough in 2025. Like, you have to have a good growth partner service where you've got the marketing, you've got the closers who can actually generate the revenue for the clients. But to answer your question in a bit more detail, we have...
That wasn't enough detail.
Yeah.
Let's go in then.
I thought it was going to say, just shorten it.
And to summarise, to go deeper, we want to hear it though.
100%.
A lot of the people who we're building this podcast for, it's agency owners, marketers, as well as the brands who are trying to find the right people to work with, the right brands to work with, and give you guys a platform. So break it down, man. What's the detail?
Well, yeah, in terms of the actual team, they work in 4 different time zones in the USA. So we've got some appointment setters that will start EST, 9 a.m. We've got other appointment setters that will start PST, which is the West Coast, California. They start around 11 a.m.
Hello, baby.
And then we've got the UK guys, so they're doing the GMT time zone.
My God.
So they're all starting at different times, and luckily bringing in Amber, who's got a lot of experience in this field, has really helped, because we're brand new to the USA. We've only been doing this since November last year, and it's been a massive learning curve.
Yeah. And it's you guys have got enough humility to admit, you're entering a new market, and some people make the presumption that, just flip the ads, turn them onto US territory, and it's the same kind of vibe. One of the conversations we've had before when, you first mentioned we've launched in the US was that you tried it a different way and it didn't really work out, and you guys didn't have the best experience. What happened?
You know what? For legal reasons, we can't actually say.
Okay. We can say. We just can't say who it was, though.
No, yeah. So we can say what happened, but we can't say who it was. But we invested in a high ticket program. It was $20,000.
Yeah.
And they basically promised us that they would launch us into the US, find us a closer, run the ads. Because we tried breaking the US before over the years, didn't work. We were like, okay, it's so expensive, it must be good.
Yeah.
It was the worst thing we've ever bought.
Why? What makes a bad program?
Customer service, they would take 48 hours to reply. There was no synergy, so it was a white label model. We didn't notice at the time. We thought we were working with an in-house company. But the closing company was a separate company to the client success, to the ads team. So there was no real synergy there. Yeah. And when it came to actually running the ads, they were getting us like $500 cost per lead, So it just didn't work. It really didn't work.
Ads, and then you've got sales commissions and whatever else.
You're
not breaking even month 1, which is the death. You got to wait till month 2 to recover any kind of profit. It's a cash flow killer, isn't it? With that experience, what's changed then with your approach? So if I'm a marketer and I'm trying to breach a new territory, India, Dubai, USA, where you guys are operating now, only the one in India, like you said. How have you done it? Like, what is the difference between whatever happened there? Like, let's not even focus on that, and what you guys are doing now differently. How does it differ to get you the result?
Yeah, would you agree different regions require different offers? So I've noticed in the USA, you have to have a real good offer if you're running ads to acquire clients, right? So something that's working well in the USA is promoting a pay-per-patient ad/offer. The leads are flying through because in 2025, there's never been more companies that have been burnt by agencies and had bad experiences with agencies. But there will always be a demand for a good growth partner in agency, right? So changing the offer to get people through the door on the intro really helps.
Yeah, we do bait. It's like bait and switch, really. So like to the leads, we're advertising a pay per patient model, right? Yeah. But they'll come through the pitch, and we will have the pay per patient offer, but we'll also
you give them options.
Yeah, and the other option is always better. If you want the pay per patient, go for it. But the other option is better, and the lead flow is better. Obviously, you'll still get a few people like, oh, that's way too much. Yeah. But they've got the opportunity to go for either. But it has worked for us.
You mentioned like people getting burnt by agencies. You know, our agency or the community, we're all fielding these conversations with new potential clients, and people are like, oh, terrible experience. Why are you guys going to be different? You just mentioned like it's never been worse for reputation and our industry, which is one of the reasons why, you know, I'm really dedicated and committed for the best marketers and agencies out there. We've got to get more shine on them, especially the ones that I know. How has it got to this place where so many businesses that normally would be like, yeah, you guys sound great, let's do it, have had a bad experience with other agencies and social media? Why is this the case?
I believe it's because we're in the age of everybody wanting to become an online entrepreneur, right? So every time somebody goes on their phone, they're on the way to their 9-to-5 job, perhaps they're in sales, they see, oh, make 10K a month being an online social media marketing agency, right? So you've got this huge influx of people getting into the industry, which I encourage. You know, we need good entrepreneurs. But, you know, these same people who are running an agency from their mum's bedroom, I don't hate, that's how I started, from my mum's bedroom, that offering clients...
Why didn't you go from your own bedroom?
I was thinking the same thing.
That's weird.
Yeah, why were you in your mum's bedroom?
My mum's house in my
beauty
bedroom,
dresser,
just to clarify.
moving the makeup out the way with your laptop. Your mum's house, yeah.
Change the subject.
Yeah, anyway, where was that going?
You completely threw me off, bro. All I can think about is my mum's bedroom now.
You're talking about bedroom.
Everyone started,
let's call them bedroom marketers, right? Which, look, you know, I went remote after the social agendas thing, and that was because I had the kids at home. I wanted to be there. I didn't want to have to travel, and you know, it was an office I made in a guest bedroom, right? Still smash results, still got it. But what you're referring to is startup agency owners or marketers who don't know what they're doing. Just coming out of the house.
I'm referring to startup agencies who are over-promising on results they don't quite know or haven't worked out how to deliver yet, right? And we've all been there to a degree, but because there's such a large influx of new agency owners, I'm in communities with people who are struggling to get pay-per-patient offers, like even just trying to convince people to pay the ad spend. That's how much the game's changed from what I'm seeing in the USA. So I think really like a big problem is so many agencies are so sales focused. And I thought the greats in the industry, some of them, there's some credible guys out there, I thought they just knew something we didn't know about marketing. But I realized a lot of these high ticket sales guys in the marketing industry, they're not in the business of marketing, bro. They're in the business of sales. Because I guarantee you, sometimes just because it's 20 grand, we learned this the hard way, does not mean it's better. Sometimes they just have the audacity to sell a mediocre course all done for you at an extremely high ticket price. And the psychology behind it is, this is how I thought, well, if I'm paying like 4 times the fee, it's going to be 4 times as good. Not always the case. So I think that's why the industry's got a pretty bad name.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's just a lot of. We were there, like you don't know what you don't know, right? So when you're first starting, you think you can get this person results. I remember we used to work with a lot of startups, which now we generally stay away from startups because the startups, you think you can help them. Oh, this makes sense. They've got a clothing brand. Oh, the clothing brand. Oh, nice material. It's cool. Yeah, you've got a lot of stock. That's fine. Oh, the website.
Always got a lot of stock. I put a post out. Idris Elba walking around looking at gold in like the Bank of England or whatever. And there's like thousands of gold bars stacked up on these cages. And I changed the headline on it and put it on my story. Factory owners, clothing brands showing you their stock after the
Sorry,
factory owner convinced them of the minimum order value being 3x. They get hammered on, you need to produce this many t-shirts, and then there's nothing left for marketing. But that's not just with clothing, that's with a lot of these startup brands. They don't know what's going on, and they get sometimes manipulated, and they can't even market and sell their own product because there's no money left, right?
100%. That's a really good point. I think another reason why the agency game has a bad reputation is, you probably see it as well, Aaron, right? You've got these guarantees at the moment that are being advertised that are just completely unobtainable. So I'm seeing guarantees from people trying to get done for you clients saying, we guarantee to make you 50K a month, every single month, or even yesterday. And if I don't, I'll shoot you a 5K check for wasting your time. Now, I can guarantee anybody.
You come in with a guarantee now.
I can guarantee anybody who's about to go with one of these people, if you read the stipulations of that contract, it ain't worth the paper it's written on. It's a scam.
Yeah, like I just... The whole Mosey strategy, wasn't it? It came out in his book, $100 million offers or whatever. And it's a great book, and Mosey's a god, but legend. He basically built the math off. You'll only get this many more refund requests, and overall you'll still net more by acquiring more clients with guarantees, even if, it doesn't say it in the book, but even if you don't fulfill those guarantees.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating. You know, it's something that I think is bottoming out our industry in terms of, the more guarantees there are, the more desperation that seems to be coming through. Like, we need clients that much that we will send you $5,000. Bro, you don't even know what the business is yet. Yeah. So, like, you don't even know who's going to apply. What if they're selling the most undesirable offer or service, and they've got the worst social proof, and they've got the worst reviews online of any brand out there, right? So I feel like it's kind of been a bit toxic in a way. And just on the high ticket courses, I still commend you guys, because I remember, I think it was either before or after you made that decision to invest that 20K, like, your mindset has always been, as a business, leading by example with investing in yourselves. You invested in our program, got results. You're looking for the next thing and the next step, thinking it's going to be bigger impact because it's much bigger price point. Where does that mindset come from? Why don't you guys just say, yo, 80K per month, 85K per month, or over 6 figures in dollars per month, right? If you're trying to really stretch it out. Why do you guys continually keep taking risk and
it's
investing?
crazy, because when I remember when I was just looking and people were doing 10K, and I was like, I can't even imagine doing 10K. Like, I know we're going to be there one day, but I just can't imagine it. And I remember joining when you did the sprint. And there was people on there doing 30K, and I'm like, 30K, that's crazy. Like, how are they doing that? Like,
some of them people have disappeared off the face of the earth.
Some of them disappeared.
We were talking about a couple
I'm not sure we can validate.
No, that can't go
For inspiration purposes, they were good.
But even that inspires you. You think, it makes you think, if they're doing it, why can't we do it? And there's 2 of us, so we must be able to do it. I think it's like always probably not being necessarily comfortable where you are, even though we're doing decent numbers. Like, we're still stressed that we're not doing more. Like, I don't think it's hard. You can't ever
feel like you're trying to reach your potential, and what's the end game of that? Now, look, obviously there's 2 of you, 2 founders. That means, splits are splits. So you almost have to do bigger numbers to get the same results as someone who's a single founder, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Does that play a part in it as well?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I mean, look, me and Luke are different characters, but we have the same vision. And we're also best friends outside of the agency. We always have
And that was
been.
Before you guys started in business?
Long
you knew each other.
before. Yeah. Back in school times, we're always at the same parties. We go Ibiza every year. I'm best man at Luke's wedding. So it's deeper than just being business partners. Yeah. In terms of the end goal, eventually we will sell this company for a multi-7-figure valuation. Guarantee it. Right?
Guarantees now.
And if I don't, I'm going to give you £500,000.
5K check for wasting your time for listening to this podcast.
That's the drive.
Jokes aside,
that's the target.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know we can do it.
Yeah, 100%. Talk to me about some of the big wins. Like, I want to talk about client results. Like, have you guys got any kind of clients that you're working with right now, or that you've previously worked with, that you're like, you know what, we've absolutely crushed it and we've exceeded all expectations? If so, how have you done it?
Yeah, absolutely. There's been multiple. I mean, if we look at some of the UK guys who have been with us from the beginning, Danielle Clancy, Manchester School of Aesthetics, she springs to mind. Great company. She's got a good personal brand. She's a good business owner, and she understands what she has to do to scale. That's a big part of a client actually getting results. They have to have good in-house processes already, right? A lot of people never talk about that. We've helped her generate an additional 25 to 30K a month consistently, which might not sound like a lot, but if you compound that over a 2-year partnership, that's astronomical, right? Yeah. Especially because she's not a huge operation. She's got a few staff and she's obsessed with giving her clients a good result, right? Now, where marketing doesn't always work is you could actually give like a really good marketing service. I'm sure you'd agree. If they already have holes in their ship as the client, marketing's not going to save their business. It's going to make those existing holes even bigger. And as you know, whenever anything goes wrong, people always blame marketing.
Yeah, ad spend's the first thing to go. Ad spend's always the first expense when they're looking at the balance sheet.
Yes.
Oh man, we need to cut back on the ad spend and the marketing fees. And that could be that you guys are generating the best leads and the best appointments and they just can't close, or they're not giving the best experience when they turn up to the clinics or whatever the med spa is. And that's part of the risk that we carry that I think a lot of people don't realize. Churn is probably at its highest right now. The key to a successful agency for me, it used to be client acquisition. But that's just the problem that you solve to get to the real problem, which is, can you keep relationships for more than 3 months? Because if you can't and nobody wants to continue after 3 months, you're always starting from ground zero, right? What are some of the protocols? What are some of the client experience kind of milestones that you guys have in place operationally that help you retain the maximum amount of clients once you've signed them?
Two things that come to mind is definitely introducing the call center. Well, the sales team that were calling the leads, that definitely improved our retention. Our responsibility gets bigger because now I'm not just getting you leads. I have to get you appointments through the door. I have to get you real people. It's not like I'm going to get you leads and then, the leads might be all right, they might not. We have to get you people through the door because you're not even calling the leads anymore. So all you're doing is paying us money and then waiting for them to come through the door.
Yeah.
So
Hands off.
Yeah. That definitely was like a game changer for us. It's been an absolute, I don't know the right word, but we've had to learn so much to get to where we are.
Yeah,
we've actually got like the same infrastructure, the same systems as Alex or Mosey had for gym launch. Like that's where we've learned it from. We paid a lot of money to get these systems, so we can give speed to lead. We can call the leads quick. The girls can handle a lot of accounts. But yeah, retention 100% has helped because of that. Because I think otherwise you're relying on businesses to call their own leads, and they never call them. They'll say, "Oh, I can't get hold of the leads." Okay, how many times have you tried to call them? Oh, I tried to call them yesterday and today. Okay, well, they're busy. They're at work. Like, how many times has your phone rung today and you haven't answered? Oh, it actually has. Okay, it's the same situation. You've got to catch them at a good time. You've got to call them 10 times. Have you WhatsApped them? WhatsApp? No, I haven't WhatsApped them. Why haven't you WhatsApped them? Have you dropped them a message? You haven't done anything. And then you're telling me the leads are rubbish. You don't even know they're rubbish. You haven't spoke to them. Sometimes, so then, like, we went through a phase where we would just call some leads. I remember sitting in our first office. We just called the leads and we got through to some and then we sorted it out. I'm like, nah, we know this is it. Talked about it for ages. And then from doing that, it's been definitely revolutionary for us. But it's a lot of pressure. It's so much pressure.
That's been a huge pivotal implementation that's improved client retention. I'd say another thing that improves client retention in the UK, meeting your clients. You know, how many agencies can honestly say if they have a client in the UK, they'll travel to the other side of the country to meet that client and take them out for a complimentary lunch or dinner. In the early days, we done that with all of our clients. Can't do it with the guys in the US yet. Maybe one day.
We will.
Soon will. So it got to the level where, you know, if you look at Dan, MCR, she invites us to a Christmas party every year, a summer party. We've had some of the best nights out and built some lifelong friendships with our clients because we genuinely care about our clients. And I think people need to listen to their clients a little bit more as well, you know, because everyone talks about becoming a good kind of objection handler with retention. Well, what about if you could do objection prevention, right? What about if you could kind of sense things before they happen and show that you genuinely care? Because that's what most marketing companies are missing, is that genuine connection with their client base. It makes you seem more human.
Yeah, it changes with scale as well, though. So obviously, I mean, if you've got, you know, even 20 accounts, 25 accounts in the UK, and you're going to have to go out and do complimentary lunches per quarter, what's more important? You being at the desk, hitting the calendar, growing the business, or being out entertaining? Or maybe it's somebody else's role?
When we look at the people that have stayed us for the longest, it's all the people that we've met.
Every time.
Every single time.
I agree, 100%. And it's like, the challenge comes with how much access, because you've got staff members. How do you guys navigate? You're growing this team, but you're still being on the front line and you're still accessible to clients when, in the back of your mind, you might be thinking, well, we're paying out all of this profit margin and reinvesting in team members that are there to do that job. But then you might still have to be there to put out fires or to handle a conversation.
Our communication with our clients is better than I'd say most agencies, for sure. Like, that's one thing that a lot of the agencies, a lot of the clients say. Like, we have everyone in a WhatsApp group, and they have access to our marketing manager, our account manager, and me and Sam in that WhatsApp group. Yeah. It's headache. Don't get it twisted, but it's long. You've got all these WhatsApp.
Switching it to Slack.
But I think we're actually moving that place. But the clients get responses quickly, and they chat to us a lot. So if they got any problem, they'll just pull it in there. Yeah. Generally that's top tier for us.
Yeah. One of the big things right now that kills agencies is when you put a hard line stop on communication. We're going to talk to you once a month. If you need anything, email it us. And like, you even had the other experience of the other side of that, 48 hours for a reply. Like, who's got 48 hours if you're spending like £300 a day on ads? Like, you need a decision right now, right? And it's also having that value to money. It's easy as marketers, especially with running ads, which you know has been a game changer for you guys. It's just numbers on a board, right? It's just numbers in Ads Manager, but that's real money that you're spending for clients. And I think sometimes why we've got to a place with social media marketers not necessarily having the best, brand identity is they don't value their clients' hard-earned money. They think, oh yeah, give us £1,000 ad spend, spunk it all on nothing and get no results, make some mistakes, have a bad copy, have a low quality video in terms of like getting the message out or whatever else. This podcast is sponsored by the Start and Scale Agency Partnership, which is all about bringing the best marketers together to connect, collaborate and grow, getting their clients amazing results and growing their businesses and agencies together. If you are an agency owner or marketer looking to scale this year, click the link in the description box below to find out more about how we are bringing the best marketers together to connect, collaborate, and grow in 2025. When it comes to the hardest part about what you guys are doing right now, you got two different roles, right? So from an operations point of view, what's your day-to-day biggest headaches and how do you address them? And from a sales perspective, what are your biggest challenges? Because it's not you just selling anymore either, is it?
Correct, yeah. Luke, I'll let you go first, actually.
Operationally, it's definitely dealing with different clients and different staff in
then
different time
zones.
That
you said help you with the retention.
Yeah, they're good. They're so good, but they're headache. But it's definitely managing people because people start at different times. It's not like you can just have a meeting in the morning.
Yeah, with the time zones.
People start at different times. So speaking to everyone, you spend a lot of time speaking to people rather than getting things done. So that is challenging. I think like getting to a certain period, I remember like getting from 50K to this K is all about the systems and processes. Not all about it, but that plays a massive part because how do you scale? So like implementing different systems. So right now we're like utilizing ClickUp a lot. Like all our clients are there, all the information's there. We're trying to build out a lot of systems and processes. Yeah. We didn't build out systems and processes till we got to really recently, the last 6 months, we're like, we need to record everything we do. We need to loom it. We need to make procedures on it so that other people can follow it. Because otherwise, a lot of it's just in my head.
Yeah, and without you, nothing works.
That's it. So if you go away, like you'll get loads of things just won't get done. So now I think building that out is helping because now a lot of people are just replicating those tasks. That's been a challenge. I think having the call center, getting people to actually be able to call the leads quickly enough to bring them on board. Because we say, look, we want to try and call the leads in 5 minutes, but you have to set up systems so that they can do that at the same time as handle.
Let them know when the leads have come in.
That's it, yeah. And Go High Level is the best thing ever. Like, I recommend any marketing agency, everyone should have Go High Level. Like, we've used it for 5 years and it's the best thing ever. We have our clients on it, whether we're calling leads or not, everything's there. So the lead will come in, they'll call it, it moves to the next day if they don't answer, it will send them an automatic text, send them a WhatsApp, send them a voicemail if you want. Having that automated so that the staff can just spend most of their time dialing.
Yeah, on the phones, that's where deals are done.
Yeah.
Okay, so communication from a delivery perspective. What about from a sales perspective?
Yeah, there's multiple challenges. It's bigger than just me now. It's bigger than just me, right? We're not going to get to the multi-7-figure valuation from me and Luke just being good founders and being hands-on. It's the company now. And the definition of company is group of people. So assembling a good group of people that can sell,
that's
right?
True.
It's so true, that can sell ethically and then not tell clients everything they want to hear to sign them.
Yeah.
Okay. And then also on the call center side, trying to sometimes find A players for a C player salary, because bearing in mind that our call center's in Cape Town, South Africa, right? We need closers now. So a kind of problem I'm focusing on right now is, do we just pay people a super high salary, right? And try and get better people, and it's going to eat into our profit margins because we're scaling quickly, to try and get that conversion rates up. And believe it or not, you know, I'm not even ashamed to say this, up until I'd say 6 months ago, we didn't even track conversion rates. We just tracked booking numbers. I never tracked my sales conversion rates. Yeah. Well, I did in a kind of backwards way. Like, I'd always just write it on a whiteboard, right? Because that's what I knew from back in the day.
Some data in Go High Level dashboards
of course,
as well.
yes, you can within reason.
But you weren't looking and paying attention to the conversion rates.
Yeah, I'd always see, like, from proposal sent to someone banked.
From your own sales team.
My own,
so this isn't the appointments that you're booking. This is your own internal client acquisition.
This is correct. Yeah. So I mean,
so what is your conversion rate?
Okay, so
roughly average.
Last month, from offer to close, it was 38%. From offer to close.
So they qualified, they got an offer, they showed up. Nearly 40%.
So it's floating around 40%.
On traffic from ads, majority.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
That's from the offer, like, so if they're qualified, 40% of
that. You got any spare time, right?
Bro, do you know what? Sometimes I actually kind of feel like life would have been easier. All
right, that's
going into high ticket sales.
Yeah, that's my next question. So, look, high ticket sales. The question I have is, if you guys were going to start again today, right? Let's say you get this multi-7-figure valuation. Let's say you both get paid out and you can leave, which is going to be challenging to do, but let's say that's the circumstance. You split the dough, you invest it all in property, so the cash flow's gone, right? You got a little bit of, pocket money to go on your travels and do your thing. If you were going to start another business again today, what would it be?
OnlyFans.
And what would it be after that? OnlyFans management, or are you the OnlyFans performer?
Both, bro.
Oh, bro, you're putting disturbing images in my mind.
No, in all seriousness. So if I was to sell and then start another business, I'm sure we'd probably start something else.
Yeah, definitely.
Imagine if he said no. My next question is, would you do it together? No, bro.
Fuck that.
I'm not on it, man.
Yeah, it's hard because you don't know, because the grass is always green on the other side. So you think, you know what? Well, we're going to do this and go into this business.
What my question is kind of leaning towards is, would you start another WH Media, and would you do the same thing in the same niche? Which, of course, in a real world, you wouldn't be able to compete with the thing you've just sold. But would you do the same thing and build the exact same business?
I thought about this a lot, and there's so many opportunities within the aesthetics and med spa space. So it might not be an agency model, but perhaps machine sales, like machines for the aesthetic industry, are worth up to 100K plus, right? And we have a client and a good friend called Marcus at Sculpt Pro. He's got a multi-million-pound company selling aesthetic devices, and the margins are sexy. Right?
Laser, Pico Shore,
HIFU, all of the devices. So I think we're always going to have a tie to this industry. I don't know what it is. Like, we never thought we'd be in the beauty or med spa industry, but there's a lot of great entrepreneurs in this space, and we've got some great connections. So
you've built a big network, and you've obviously got value in that network because you've worked with so many people. What about when it doesn't go right? All of us can talk about our best case studies. All of us send an outreach video from the company, or we run an ad and we show the best work that we've done. What happens when it doesn't go right? And what are some of the reasons why a campaign doesn't go right in the aesthetic space or the beauty space?
I think...
hard question to answer right now.
Sure. I think sometimes it comes down to, let's say we're not calling the leads, they're calling the leads. Like, they don't have a process and coaching. So like a lot of clients, there's an example where we're giving a client 200 people through the door, right? And they can't upsell any of them. Like, we're talking like under 5 out of 200 they upselled. Then we've got another client who's got exactly the same 200, but they've upselled over 50%. That's obviously not our issue. That is definitely a issue in your clinic. So like, what we try and do is obviously coach them around how to upsell, how to get 5-star reviews, how to get testimonials, how to get video content so we can get your brand out there.
It's hard because a lot of aesthetics clients, obviously we've engaged with this market as well. We've collaborated with obviously you guys on client projects. One of the things that we noticed is a big bottleneck when we're not offering appointment setting, or we're not referring them to you guys to do appointment setting, is they'll try and take a receptionist and make them a salesperson.
Never works.
And it's the confidence that they have of, oh, this is front of house. They take all the orders that come through the phone. They can do the exact same thing for this.
Because they're good at customer service, but they're not good at sales. It's completely different.
What's the difference?
Because reception is just being nice to someone, taking someone's details, whereas leads that come through Facebook and Instagram, I wish, but they're not sold. They're not sold. They come through like they probably just looked at the advert and then they've cracked on looking at whatever else, and now you're trying to sell them. You're trying to get them in for a package where they're going to spend thousands on aesthetics, and now they don't even really care anymore. So you actually have to convince them. You have to sell to them. That's why I don't really like even saying that we've got appointment setters. They're not appointment setters. Like, they're sales.
They're closers.
They're closers.
Yeah.
They have to be.
I'm just going to say it straight. I want to say it straight, right? Receptionists can't sell for shit. They just can't do it, and nor should they. It's not in our job description. They didn't apply to be a fucking salesperson. Most med spas won't even give the receptionist commission. They don't give a fuck. They don't care. In between calls, they're watching Love Island, and they're usually on minimum wage. So if you're serious about generating results,
We're talking about receptionists.
Yeah. You need to hire salespeople. If you've got a high flow of leads, you need people who can convert those leads. There's a skill to it. It's not as easy as people make it out to be.
Yeah. Just pulling back for a second from Love Island and their breaks and no commission jobs. I think receptionists have all just the market value in receptionists just dropped on that evaluation. But you're right, they shouldn't have to do things that aren't in their jobs. But then founders, they don't want to hire or pay more for something that they don't know the value of yet. High ticket clients, right? One of the things that you've mentioned in the past is like, that's been the big difference. You come with sales experience, right? You guys have sold in different businesses before. How has that translated into making you guys able to sell social media services and generate the kind of revenues that you've done?
Yeah, it's been massive. I mean, I've only ever worked in sales, and I've seen from previous jobs everything a sales company shouldn't be, right? I wasn't even allowed a chair for 2 years, right? No chair, 300 plus calls a day. If you wore a pocket on your shirt, it's getting ripped off. If you were late, you were getting fined half a day's salary. I don't know. It's just like an old school thing. Like my first day I wore a pocket, my manager ripped it off and my nipple was showing for the whole day. So what that industry taught me...
That's when you realise you're in the right place.
That's I mean, I'd say what it taught me was resilience, how to be tenacious, how to have a sickening work ethic. I was on minimum wage, and when you took away my fines for being late every day, I was on less than minimum wage.
Well, you get fined for being late.
Yeah, and I was late every day.
Yeah, like your whole day wage.
Yeah.
Oh, no
we didn't have a contract,
no
bro.
contract.
There was no contract. This was the kind of dark side of sales. 17 in that industry.
What kind of business, what kind of products was that business selling where they're ripping off pockets and...
Thin air.
Alternative investments mostly.
Okay,
so
which
diamonds, wine, carbon credits. Okay. It was my first ever job. I didn't know any different. And then going into recruitment, it was always medical based. And then I started to see the right way to manage. I worked at a great company called Rig. They taught me so much about client success and sales and how to build actual relationships. So that kind of cultivated where I am today. And being a good salesperson isn't enough anymore, right? You have to be a conversational problem solver.
I mean, being a good marketer is not enough. Being a good salesperson is not enough. You know, game done changed.
It's different. It's so different now. So instead of, salespeople jumping on a call and saying, oh, we're the best because we do this and we're the best because we do that, because every salesperson says that. Yeah. Stop saying you're better and start saying you're different. How can you be different? If you listen to the client and you can find out everything previously that other marketing agency done wrong, if you're attentive, you can work out a strategy to prevent that from happening again. Yeah. Right? So that's the best advice I can give anybody. Stop trying to be better, start trying to be different.
Yeah. One of the things that I remember working on with you guys in the partnership was team building, because when you guys came down, it was just the two of you. And I think I remember one of your first hires was a videographer that didn't end so well. And now, fast track, you guys have hired dozens of people and had to get rid of some and then obviously kept the best ones. What's the team building process like for you guys? What are the challenges that you're overcoming? How do you find talent? Like, you guys have gone to South Africa. Is that because the cost is cheaper, or is it about talent being better for this role in South Africa, or a bit of both?
It's definitely
a bit of both. Yeah, it's a bit of both. I mean, there's some exceptional talent in South Africa.
Is there a difference in attitude, South African workers versus the UK workers for that role?
You know what? It's a good question. It's subjective, because I've met some exceptional talent in the UK. I've met some exceptional talent in South Africa. The difference is if you find exceptional talent in South Africa, you can pay them significantly less and their lifestyle obtains significantly more because the cost of living. So we've got South African staff members who they might make, my sales guy, Brendan, he earns probably about £3,000 to £5,000 a month, which might not sound like a lot in the UK, but he's balling out of control.
Living good.
He's living good. Steak every day, Virgin Active gym membership. He's got, kids, a pretty wife, lives by the seaside. Yeah. He has a swimming pool. He's living nice.
He's living good.
He's probably living better than me.
All right, one of the things I know you guys chat about a fair bit, on the Multipliers podcast, which if anyone hasn't listened to that, I'd highly recommend they do. Check that out, give that a search. You talk about Dubai, you talk about other territories. Is the UK the best place to start a marketing agency right now?
Damn. You know what? I'm going to shout out the UK real quick, right? Despite all of the bad press and how everybody's saying that the UK's failed, it's not failed. It might slowly be failing, but it's not too late. Some of the best entrepreneurs in the world are from the UK. And some of the best entrepreneurs I've ever met are from the UK. So I think you can still build a successful company here, but depending on the niche, what we kind of hit a roadblock with is the UK's small, right? So if you're working in one niche like aesthetics, there's only so many clients you can sign in one area before it becomes a conflict of interest. Do you know what I'm saying? Whereas if you look at the USA, Texas, to put it into perspective, is 3.5 times the size of the UK. And Texas is one state out of, I believe it's 50. It might be 51. 52.
Oh, 51, 51st state, innit? That's the movie.
So that explains the magnitude of the scale difference.
Yo, let's get a check on that. How many states, Al? 50.
50, I was right.
I thought it was 51.
And I've lived there.
I thought it was 51, so.
Useless.
So is the UK the best place to start a company? Boy, I don't know, because I've only ever started companies in the UK. So it's kind of hard to say.
What's keeping you guys here? Obviously, we've all got the head turn in. Yeah, Love Island quotes now. I've got my head turned. Your head turns when you hear about, Dubai. Obviously, we've got partners, agency partners in Start and Scale Partnership who are living out there. Shout out Manraj, Tom Lewis. And that makes it real. Our own friends, our own community are leaving the UK to go and build their agencies abroad, even if they're still working with UK clients. What's keeping you here? Is it just because you're happy with life? You prefer it here? Because you guys, you've been out to Dubai, you've been all over the place. You love traveling, right?
Yeah.
So
we talk about it a lot.
It comes up.
We talk about it a lot. It probably comes to our head every day about Dubai.
Every day.
Yeah, it definitely comes to my head about going to Dubai every day, because I think effectively the money that we're paying in tax, that would probably pay our rent in Dubai because of the difference.
Expenses, but higher
income.
And less stress about accounting. What you make is what you take.
That's
Absolutely.
it. Yeah, that's it. So I think probably it's probably an age thing, really. Like I'm 31. Like I'm about to get married. Mrs. wants children soon, so that's gonna come. And for me, I wouldn't go because of my family. Like it's not all about the money. Like I've got my family that I want to see. Like I couldn't just go away, leave my mum for like 3 months, like without seeing her. It wouldn't be fair on her. My sister, I got a little brother. Like it's not. I would love to. If I could pick everyone up and take them with them, calm, no problem. But it's not as simple as that. And I think it'd be expensive to keep coming to and from. Sam, he really wants to go. If I said go, Sam will come, right?
Well, you know what?
he really wants to. He really wants to.
To be fair, I always wanted to move overseas. I've changed. My stance has changed a lot over the past 6 months. So I've travelled a lot. I've seen a lot of places. And everyone says that the UK's okay, it might have its problems, but I've been to places that are genuinely fucked, and they would give anything in the world to come and live in the UK. There's a reason why there's so many boats coming to our shores, bro.
Is it like Bali?
Well, Bali is paradise until it's not, right? So the main locations are beautiful. You go 5 minutes into town, still a beautiful place, but people are living in huts. And I spoke to people out there who earn £100 a month, and their dream is to come to England. It's their dream. Right? And if you actually think about the UK's heritage, we designed the free world in a way. We know some bad stuff as well.
We enslaved,
right?
well, the British Empire enslaved the free world, which is quite a dichotomy, but I understand where you're coming from.
I mean, like we created capitalism.
Yeah, you installed, well, I say you, it's now us against you, yeah. You installed governments in foreign territories, or the British installed governments in foreign territories where that structure still lives on. Australia, India, you know what I mean? Democracies,
Yeah.
which, is a whole different conversation. conversation. The thing is, like, when I look at it, I drew a line under it. So when we actually went to Dubai for a second time in the same year, we had our son at this point, and then we were actually going to view properties out there. So we we're going to say, okay, let's see what it would actually look like in terms of what we've got to kind of put towards a house out there. And as soon as we landed, my son was ill from the flight, and then my partner was also being sick. And she ended up taking a pregnancy test, and we found out on day one of landing for the Dubai kind of moving trip, research trip, that we're pregnant again with my daughter.
Oh, wow.
So then we're like, with 2 kids, living abroad, no family or friends, that doesn't make any sense because we're going to need the support, you know what I mean? So we drew a line under it, but then slowly, you know, things have, in my opinion, definitely deteriorated with the new government that's come in. And the news is almost every day, you know, I don't even watch the news, but if you do switch it on and see a glance of it, it's how everyone's leaving and how the country's going into, you know, one of the worst
9
places it could
million
be.
people left, no more left in it, but 9 million, the difference between
it's
how
an
many people we
entrepreneur
left.
exodus, right? But let me ask you this.
There's also that FOMO, right?
Yeah.
And
Oh,
we
yeah,
drew a
trust
line
me.
under it, but I've got to be honest, recently that line has been erased and we're looking at it again as a potential.
Yeah, of course. And I fully understand it. I mean, if I was a bit younger, I'd probably be out in Dubai right now.
What's
Or
hilarious
maybe
is I'm older
Miami.
than both of you.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this, right? Elliot Wise changed my perspective on this. Shout out Elliot Wise.
Shout out Elliot, man.
If all of the great minds leave the UK of what once was a great country for business, because bearing in mind, the world's banks are in Canary Wharf for a reason, right? It used to be great for business. It's only changed recently. So if all of the great minds leave, how is it ever going to get better? Shouldn't we stay and fight? And I'm not saying raise up an army, but, you know, let's talk about the good stuff that could potentially change. And I'm with you. I hate the government. I hate Labour. I think Conservatives washed. Personally, I think reform's where it's at. I think they're the most favourable for business. So, yeah, I'm going to stay, man, for now. But staying's not so bad when you can leave when you want and go on holiday.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, it's not, but it's different for you guys and for all business owners because you have that freedom of running an agency from anywhere, from a laptop. You've already got an international team, so
Of course.
it doesn't even matter about keeping everyone's culture together because you're already doing that online, right? Obviously, for me, it's an interesting one because you also look at not just the cost saving, but you also look at the lifestyle. I ain't gonna lie. When I wake up in the winter every day and it's grey,
It's
and you
tough.
know I live in a decent spot, and
Yeah.
I find it hard now to even be grateful for where I live because it's always so miserable, right? I ended up going to the retail park. Never go. I hate going shopping. We order all of our shopping online because I hate going to supermarkets, right? And I hate going to retail parks. But we went to one and we had to get the kids some stuff for a wedding coming up. And no word of a lie, I said it when we were driving away, not one person out of these hundreds of people that I saw, not one person was smiling. Not one person. We've got parents, obviously parenthood stressful, whatever the reasons are. But I've lived in other countries, innit? I've lived in America, I've lived in Canada, where the vibration is very different in terms of how people feel and interact with each other. But there's also the uniqueness of that being kind of a selling point where we're British and we're fucking miserable. And it's almost something that you'd miss if you left. But I just want to get your take on it because it's interesting.
Well, I saw
People
a
moving
great...
every day, isn't it?
I saw a great...
but there's also
analogy.
people coming back.
Yeah.
You know, one of our clients and a good friend of mine from back in the day, Kevin Stewart, the ex-Liverpool footballer, he went with his family out there. And then they ended up coming back I'm not sure what the reason was, after about 6 to 8 months. So the other thing is it's not final. And that's one thing that I think everybody doesn't consider. Like, if you do leave, there's no shame in coming back in 3 years.
Of course.
You know what I mean? Like, it's still home, right?
And just like business, the grass isn't always greener with that new shiny business you think you're going to, have a better life from. I've had friends who've moved to Dubai. Some love it. Some are still there now. Some hated it. So I think it's personal preference. I do agree, though. You know, when I've traveled to especially Southeast Asia, seeing people who have so much less, they also have so much more because they're so humble and happy and smiley. So I do fully get it. You know, it is kind of disheartening when you're waking up and it's still dark and it's raining for days on end. But maybe a good balance would be, you know,
Shrug of the shoulders.
maybe a good balance would be if you have the kind of location freedom, you could spend your winters in Dubai or Miami or wherever you want and come back for the summer. You know, don't have to be, you know, you're not a tree. You don't have to stay in one place. That's what Jim Rohn said.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
You can
All right,
move
what's the
around.
future look like in terms of where you guys are going, the multi-7-figure valuation? Where in your journey are you looking at hitting that target? What else is in that future roadmap for you guys?
Yeah, multi-7-figure company or bankruptcy.
I think hiring more. Hiring
Shout out
apes.
Baba Tunde. Get rich or die trying.
Oh, yeah.
For anyone who doesn't know, we, you know what? One thing I gotta say, I love you guys for, is anything I've done, you guys have always come out and supported.
Always,
like
bro.
every event, every free event, paid event, workshop. You've always been there, and that means that we've obviously got some memories of some funny stuff. So we were at this event, this free event in London, and you know, we were just laughing about it before, where there's a guy called Baba Tunde, and I said, "Is there any marketing hooks?" And what did he say?
He put his hand up and you were like, over to you, Babatunde. And he says, get rich or die trying.
And
What a legend.
Legend.
Legend. Such a
Absolute
nice
legend.
guy,
And
man.
he's one of them people that after the event implemented everything.
Yeah.
My final question for you guys, look, based on your experience, based on everything you're doing, right? If you were going to give somebody hope and motivation that's struggling right now in their agency or their marketing career and starting out, but you guys know the benefits of doing this and following it through.
Yeah, definitely.
What would you say to that person who's trying to push through and either start from scratch or they're sub 10K trying to break through?
I think a lot of the time when you're this close to quitting, I've been there before, there's something revolutionary around the corner, right? I had a similar conversation with a friend of mine who was thinking about stopping his business, and he gave it a bit more time. And then that next couple of weeks, he carried on the same work rate he was doing for over a year, not really busting past the 10K a month. He's now doing 25K a month, right? So keep going, but also analyze everything. Every sales call you have, watch it back. Where you had a close, watch that call back. Where you didn't have a close, watch that call back. If you have a slow retention or a quick retention with clients, but they're leaving you quickly, analyze why did they leave? Can you fix it? You can't do the same thing over and over again and expect different results. So be a fast learner, be adaptive, and you have to be resilient. It's the best advice I can give. And just don't quit. It's impossible to fail if you don't quit. And it's impossible to fail if you outwork the competition, even if they're better than you. So if the best person in the competition is only working at 50% and I've got half his skill level, I'm working at 100%, which me and Luke do. I can guarantee no one in the med spa industry outworks me and Luke. It's impossible. I put money on it, right? So if we're outworking the competition, we might not be as skilled as you, but we're coming for you because we work harder than all of you, is
Look,
what I'd say to that.
Is there anything you'd add to that?
Yeah, for me, it's focus, because it's so easy to get distracted, because when you get into social media marketing, you're probably also thinking about, should I e-com or drop shipping or, I don't know, all these different business models. Yeah, Forex. And I think that's where, when your distraction goes, you can't be good at everything. You can't. And I try to do it all. We try to do it all. When we started the agency, we started an Airbnb business, which we only closed recently.
Yeah, I remember. I remember the challenges with that as well.
That's it. That only technically finished up recently, but it just takes away your focus.
Yeah.
There's so much money that could be made in marketing.
Yeah.
Like on the Airbnbs, yeah, cool, you might make £500 a month for one property.
Yeah.
With the headache that comes with it, it's not really worth it. £500. But in marketing, you can sign a client that pays you $2,000 a month. Some of our clients over now have paid us $30,000. I'm like, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
There's a lot of money in it, but you got to stay focused, because it's so easy to get distracted, because you'll get hit with the adverts. The people you're following, you're going to get shiny penny syndrome. Talk about it so much.
Yeah,
on the
big
podcast.
time.
It's you got to stay focused on it, and you will get there. And don't be afraid to fuck up, because we fucked up a lot.
Yeah.
But we'll always come back stronger.
You guys have got a unique perspective because we've had a relationship for years, which is why I want to ask, based on everything we've done together, what would be your advice to anyone who's thinking about joining the Start and Scale partnership, based on the friendships you've made? Shout out Harry Hornsey.
Harry,
yeah.
what a boy.
Real relationships. What would be your advice to anyone who's thinking about joining, probably the most talented group of marketers that could be assembled?
Well, firstly, I'd vouch for you 100% because you've been a huge part of our journey. Would we be where we are today without meeting you? It's hard to say, but you definitely taught us a lot in the early stages. So I think anybody who's serious about building a foundation, you've been in the game for so long, you've worked with some of the biggest brands on different magnitudes, So yeah, if you're serious about really scaling this market and business, then you're one of the best people I'd probably say that people could work with in the UK. So yeah, do it. If you're kind of the type of guy who's sitting on a fence and you're only 1 foot in, 1 foot out, don't bother signing up. Don't even bother running a business. Just quit now.
Don't come and start then, half stepping into anything. And that's one of the things we're trying to do. And one of the biggest things about changing the mission. The Start and Scale Partnership never really had a mission until it was called the partnership. Obviously, it was the mentorship, and the whole mission around bringing together the most talented marketers and agencies completely changed how we market it, how we communicate the value in it, and also what type of talent is coming into the community. We've got incredible people in the group, and you guys are right up there with, if I was gonna, model execution in terms of, you guys ask me a question, I give you a strategy. Even if it's been 2 years later and you're just like, I've got this little problem, here's a little resource. You put it into place straight away. And I think that's probably one of the biggest advantages from a mindset perspective that's got you to where you are today, man. So look, I want to thank you both for coming down. I know it's been a journey. Thanks for explaining things for the benefit of our industry. Obviously, you never know. One thing that someone takes away from, what you guys have said could have a massive impact on where they end up. So thanks a lot, boys.
Just to add before we go, on the what's it called now?
Start and Scale Partnership.
Start and Scale Partnership. Just in the garage.
It's only written right there.
Start and Scale Partnership. Is that also business is a lonely place, right? Business is a lonely place, and sometimes what you're going through, sometimes for weeks, sometimes months, like someone you could just, if you explain that problem to someone in that group could just tell you one thing that solved it, and you're like, oh my, why don't I get it? Like, it's happened to us so many times. Like, the reason we end up going into South Africa, which has helped us scale our whole business, is just by having a conversation with someone. Yeah. They said, this is what I'm doing, I worked well, and we went and did it.
Yeah.
And you can learn so much in the group calls from everyone, and you can also help other people. So it's win-win.
The group call structure as well has been a massive value add from, if you've got the mindset where you're open to learning from others, it's the right place to be. If you're the type of person who's got this lone wolf syndrome, carry on your fucking journey to your cave. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No gingers.
It's a great thing to have, man. And you guys have got it, which is the mindset. And like, I know for a fact, it's still just the beginning for all of us.
Oh, absolutely.
And, you say I've been in the game 8 years, 2 years in tech land, the rest of the time in marketing land. And even I still feel now, you're ticking boxes, lifestyle boxes are ticked, family starting and all this, blah, blah, blah. And now it's like, we're all still early. Average age of a founder is 41.
Is it really?
Yes.
Wow.
That's probably crazy. The right way to do it if you want to have the least amount of stress.
Yeah.
And that gives perspective and context. And the longer I'm in business, I haven't had a boss. I've had clients who are arguably your boss.
Yeah.
But I haven't had someone dictating my schedule for 8+ years. And beyond anything else, that's the greatest gift you can ever have, choosing what you do and having the freedom, man. So, yeah, man.
I feel that.
Thank you, boys, for coming down. And I'm really excited as well for part 2s, because we're setting goals. And then come next year, we're going to see where we've got to, see where we're up to. Hopefully, we're at the exit stage. If we're really aggressive, let's see. We'll
see how we go. It's going to be a journey. We're going to be documenting it as well.
Yeah.
We're going to start doing a docuseries about the journey from zero in the USA to a multi-7-figure valuation. We're treating it like a brand new business. So, yeah, we're going to document the whole thing, man.
I love it, man. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
I'm here to support you, man.
For sure.
100.
Legends.
Been a pleasure. Give me some of that. Nice.